Transformers Devastation.
Hello there, Seraphim17 once again. This is my Transformers Devastation Prime Difficulty walkthrough. We're playing as Bumblebee, and this is Chapter 4, entitled Possession. This mission has the hardest fight in the game, in my opinion, and it is the one on the bridge. The Seeker right here is just introducing us to an enemy we've already been fighting, but on previous difficulties this is where he turned up. This is not a challenging enemy. However, at a distance they do spam lasers, and up close they do have the ability to do an incredibly fast attack. Once you're used to the speed of them, they're a very standard enemy, they're very fun to kill, and you can headshot them and instantly kill them as well. But I'm not doing a very good job of that, so I do apologise, but there it was, one shot, one kill. And he's going to fly away, is he? Which is never too difficult to dodge, but if they do it off camera and you end up stumbling into it, that can be annoying. But that was an A rank, even though we no damaged it, did it quite fast and ticked about 4 boxes. We just didn't tick enough boxes because it wants you to do stupid bullshit. But a lot of secrets on this. You'll notice that I don't have the secrets on my map. I recommend using the advanced radar so that you can discover where the secrets are. And once they become muscle memory, you can turn it off and use something more useful. But that advanced memory is going to get you so much loot, it's really, really good. But the bridge section. I skip all the fights except for the last one, because the bridge section is very long and very grueling. And it is hands down going to be the hardest mission to SS rank, because it is so very long, and it's really easy to take damage here, because there's a lot of cheap enemy placements of dudes off screen shooting at you, and dudes up close hitting you with armor. So I trigger that, it gets rid of the people behind you, and then as you come over here I'm going to wait for them to come to me, and I'm going to pick them off. It's just a very tricky mission, this one. I'm looking forward to practicing it and getting a lot better at it, especially now I've got super good weapons. Oh, there that was, that's miserable. But it happens. One of the things I hate the most about Platinum games, they will always have this fall off and take big damage penalty, and it's completely fair. A lot of games don't penalise you at all for falling off, Platinum do. It always feels so dirty now when we've not had it for so long. But there's going to be a spawn of enemies here because I fell off and it reset the environment. So Seekers are going to sprint towards us. I'm going to try and headshot him. The ground soldiers are the worst because of the armour and the fact that they're so aggressive. All the Seekers are going to do is shoot at you from a distance, so you just use that to your advantage and hopefully instantly kill them. But these are the dudes you want to get rid of, because if anyone's going to kill you, it will be these. Because they're so fast, so damaging, and they have crazy armour at times. However, that one didn't, which is nice to see. But compared to Blitzwing, these guys are cream puffs, because that guy is armour central. That guy's fucking straight up DayZ. But use your gun on the flyers, but always dodge when you're doing it, because there might be another flyer looking at you and about to shoot. Like, somebody's about to come now if you look at the radar. Oh, it's just 2 of the standard dudes there, pussies. But I am low on life, so 1 hit from these enemies will kill me. But hopefully I won't let them do that, as I chain vehicle attacks on him, get the kill, and do the same to this guy. And one thing I haven't figured out yet is what statistic governs knockback on this game where you can do a vehicle attack. Is it actually the knockback that allows you to then counter with a vehicle move? Because you can augment knockback onto your weapons, and if you have enough knockback, maybe you can endlessly chain vehicle attacks. But I don't know, once again, I don't know specifically what it is that governs the ability to do a vehicle attack yet. And when I do, I'm going to make the best piece of equipment so that we can just essentially chain stun enemies. Because it's also going to get you high score. It looks boring as shit, but it keeps adding up. Plus 5 points, plus 5 points, plus 5 points. So once you know what you're doing, you're going to be able to put them into loops effectively. And loops are not the most interesting thing, but they're the most effective. Hands down. As I take out Seekers, and there's one guy left who could have easily killed me just then. And if I die right now, I go back to before I was even on the bridge. So it's a pretty extensive fight. And I love how when you aim it mutes the music. I think that's a really good touch. It doesn't technically mute it completely, it just it muffles it in a great way. But now that that's done, we can push onwards into the rest of this level's very easy. That particular fight there, if you can do that, you can conquer this game. So here is Motormaster. I have quite the contention with this particular piece of scripting, because this is a chase where you're racing an enemy who you can kill, or at least knock out, but he recovers so quickly after doing it, there's no real point in doing it other than to embarrass him. And he's an AI, so he doesn't give a shit if you embarrass him because he doesn't have pride. And it's weird because if you do stop and admire the roses, or the flowers, or whatever you want to say, he'll beat you. And if he beats you to where you got to go, you fail. So it's a fail state. And I don't know, dude. I think if you beat him here, you shouldn't have to fight him in the next phase until he turns into, is it Menasor? If he turns into that dude at all, I can't remember who turns into him, but he turns up, big old Viking dude. But this guy really is one of the biggest bitches in the game, and ironically, he has one of the best swords in the game. So when you kill this dude, you will get an SS rank Menasor sword, which when you get it to level 50, will do at least 10,000 damage. The weapons I'm using right now probably does anywhere between 1 to 2,000 damage, which is an idea of just how strong that weapon he gives you is. It is absolutely ridiculous. And the only weapon so far that I've seen stronger than it is probably going to be one of the hammers that gets bonus damage when you level them up. But the hammers are so slow, and you don't get armor, that they're really tricky to use. Oh, by the way as well, whatever damage you take in this phase will carry on into the second phase. So if you're looking to no damage the next phase of this fight and get the full bonus, you won't, because it calculates the damage you took here, I think. We'll have to watch closely, because I think the fight coming up is a no damage fight, but I do not get the no damage bonus. So, you know, put 2 and 2 together, it gets orange, and we win. But watch the radar. We've knocked him out, yeah? And we're driving towards the objective. And watch how quickly this dude catches us. He's here now. He's literally on our tail. We couldn't stop and get those items or those boxes because he would have passed us. I think that's really bad, I do. So, this is Motormaster on the actual fight. Considerably easier than what you just did if you did what I just did, because he does these massive moves that give you so much time to get focus off them and to just kick his dick in. It's really silly. But he is quick, so if you don't know his moves and you're unused to the speed of Prime difficulty, he can do some damage, and if he does anything to me right now, it's all he needs. Wow, I did not cancel into vehicle then, that was weird. Whenever they go gold like that, it means they're stunned and they cannot do anything. They cannot automatically recover, they cannot armor, they can't do anything. It has to go away for them to be able to react. It is the closest to a dizzy state you get in this game. And because the game's so fast and so colourful, it can be tricky to spot it, but whenever you see that, just know that you've done something good and capitalise. So, there's me interrupting him, could have done that at any point. Do you see? Didn't take any damage, yet we only got 50 because we took 3,000 points of damage in the previous sequence. Which is apparently what my life is, so my life isn't even 4,000 at this point. Oh, by the way, if you go inside the ARC stations, it gives you a free heal, so you should always do that if you're low on life and you see one. Not really an advanced strategy, it's just a good technique of getting HP back. The good news in this game is when you die, they refill your life, so sometimes it's easier to just die. But there's a culture of people who play video games who look at death as almost permanence, and I don't understand it. Dying in a video game is like the biggest slight you can do to them, and it stops them wanting to play the game because they're not used to it and they can't take it, because a lot of people are very sore losers, and I've never been that person, just never have. I think it stems from the fact that I always used to play with people who were older than me, so I used to lose a lot just because I didn't understand the game as well as they did. And there's nothing wrong with that, guys. There's nothing wrong with losing, unless you're a bad loser. Or you don't learn from it. If you're the type of person who loses repeatedly for the same reasons, then there's an issue. Then you need to really look at it and analyse what you're doing wrong. But if you're just losing because it's part of the phase of learning to win, then there is nothing wrong with that. And I will never forget, I don't know if I've told this story before, so I apologise if I have, guys, but back in the GoldenEye days, when I used to play GoldenEye, and I was pretty good at GoldenEye. By today's standards of, pro players, I probably wasn't very good, but I was the best out of my friends, which is the closest to a compliment as you can get. And you've all been that person where you've been the best out of your friends and you've thought you were good. And that's what I was, effectively. And I was in primary school at the time. So how old would I have been? About 10 maybe? Something around those lines. I think it was just before I went up to secondary school. So I was playing GoldenEye. I was loving GoldenEye. And I used to play a lot of the split screen with my friends, and I used to beat them up and what have you. We used to have some close matches, and sometimes I would destroy them, but I played a lot of that game. And there was a friend of mine who had been in my primary school, but he was a couple of years older than me, and he'd gone up to secondary school. And he was called Daryl, and he invited me to his house, and I'll never forget it because I didn't know where it was, and I didn't like receiving backies on a bike, which if you've never heard that terminology, it's just when you sit on the saddle and they stand up and pedal, so it's like two people on a single person bike, and it's called we called it backies for whatever reason. But I was always kind of scared of them because I wasn't in control and I didn't want to fall off. And if you've ever been on one, they kind of rock back and forth just because of the inertia of riding a bike and the way that, two people's weight on one bike is not really ideal, so I was never comfortable in them at all. Didn't like giving them, didn't like receiving them. So instead I decided to run. And lo and behold, it was a different village we were going to and I didn't know. So I was running for about 10 minutes. And I wasn't the best runner. I was a good sprinter. I was a terrible distance person. By the way, guys, here, you need to capitalize on the people hitting Wheeljack. If you don't, he will die. The good news is, whenever he's not being attacked, he will heal. All you have to do here is stay on top of the enemies, control the groups, and it's not a tough section at all. But if they gangbang him, he's dead, and you'll fail instantly. But when we finally got to Daryl's house in this other village, we sat down, he put GoldenEye on, and we started doing some verses, and I beat him. And he couldn't believe it. Like, straight up, gaping mouth, how does this happen? How can this work? Because this kid was beating him, and he didn't know why. So he went again. And I'm like, okay, dude, why not? I did say dude, I don't think I'd even seen South Park at that point. So he went again, and I beat him again. Again. We went again, I beat him again. And I was trying to say in these matches, like, I play a lot of this game, I've played a lot of this game. And he just couldn't take it at all. It was like, again, and it was like, dude, wow. And it wasn't like it was close. I was destroying him. It was brutal. It got to the point where it was hard to play because it was so embarrassing. And I'd never felt like that before because I'd never had that person, constantly want that run back. And he was like, "Oh, you're gonna come to my house in a week and we're gonna play again." I'm like, "Okay." And I don't think I ever went back. I don't think I ever got invited back. Just one of those things, like. But I'll never forget that experience because it was just this moment of. His eyes were so honest in their incredulity. It was beautiful. He couldn't get how this kid was beating him. And a lot of people think like that. Like, I think like that in certain situations. And it's one of those kind of ignorant perspectives of, games are all about how much time you put in. And the younger you are, the better your reflexes are. And if you get a good understanding of the game and you play it a lot and you're young, you're going to have an advantage. And he just couldn't understand it. But the thing is, bringing this story back full circle, I didn't get that good overnight. I had to work at it, and I lost a lot. Like, my friends used to bully me on that game, and then I learned to win. And there was this beautiful moment where I started figuring the game out, and it started coming natural to me, and I started making the fights closer until it got to the point where I was the one winning. And it was just one of those great moments of realising that, I was pretty good at that game. And here was proof that there was this dude who said he was really good, and at that time I wasn't even saying I was good. I was just like, yeah, I love playing it. But on Archives, he didn't know about the shortcut doors and the secret walls. On Temple, he didn't know about the secret walls. Like, my knowledge was so much higher than his. But that couldn't be because I was younger than him, and it was just that funny moment of really ruining a guy. And I had a lot of experiences like that with certain games where I got to a point where I would win a lot, and I'm really grateful to the people that I played with that they never stopped playing me. Like, I've got a friend called Jiff who I haven't spoken to in a very long time, and he got Smash Brothers Melee because I got Smash Brothers Melee as well, and he used to play Marth and I used to play Marth, and if you don't know anything about that game, but as I've learnt, which I didn't know at the time, Marth is like top tier in that game. He's one of the best characters in it, and I always loved him because he was fast and I could do some crazy shit with him. And all of this needs to be referenced with the knowledge that I was not a pro player, guys. All the stuff you see people doing at EVO and all these people that have got all these advanced Smash Brothers Melee tech, that wasn't me. I was just a guy playing in my bedroom and in my friends' bedrooms, and I used to beat up on my friends because I played it more than they did, and I had good reflexes, and that's why I won. But this particular friend used to come to my house like every Friday, and we'd have sets on Smash Brothers, and he never won. I beat him every single time for like a good year. Never once did he complain. He used to say like, I don't get this, how come I can never win, kind of thing. And he used to call me ridiculous, but never bitched. And I think that is a real character trait that we miss on the internet, because everybody's such a sore loser. And I don't think I could have taken it as well, because at the time, I was a terrible loser. Like, straight up. I'm the type of person who, like, I would flip a table before I would lose. Because I was just a bad person, really. I was way too competitive, and it was one of those things where it got so ugly that I had to kill it. I had to kill that part of myself, just like Brass Eye when he kills the paedophile in him with a gun. Thank you for watching, and you take care now.